Last time I did this for Black Archives, it was literally just the room behind me. Okay. No real cutaway this time, mainly because we're just jumping right into it. Hello, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hey. All of you. Yeah. So, welcome to the Epiloge. This is basically the post-campaign questions that everybody gets to ask me, and I get to answer. And I'm relatively sure that there are tons of questions that you guys have for me. And also, I'm gonna, probably point out a few things that the audience has commented on some of our videos as well, given, we do pre-film these way in advance. We're actually about 4 episodes ahead of time. So there would be no way for us to actually have filmed this in a timely manner because Frontiers is currently in some production at the moment.
It's in pre-production.
Yes.
Working on
it. Spend as much time as you need. Just take your time. Blue. So, I think one of the big questions to start off with, especially for all of you, coming from me, is how did you feel about the campaign? And we'll start. Yeah, we'll start from our usual left to right or right to left.
Oh, there you go. You got it.
Yeah.
First try.
Everything's a little opposite. Like, yeah, right to left.
I was like, that's Wenry.
Yeah. All right.
Teehee.
Okay, sure. I'll go first. No pressure. No, I enjoyed every part of it. Lo and behold, like before Black Archives had actually ended, we had actually started planning Cotton, which was the bigger twist at the end of Black Archives when even Connor Salazar at the time went, wait, he has a kid, and now in this game he knows that anyway. So like, sorry for the little whoop-de-whoop there. No, I had a lot of fun times. I think my favorite was that we were trying to steer away from like the family aspect, and then it just happened anyway.
Yeah.
Confused.
So, no, I had a lot of fun. I was happy to break from a character that was very much not about violence and went, fuck it, violence, we ballin'. I think one of my favorite comments in the YouTube sections about it was like, oh, wow, she's not like Citra at all. I'm like, you got it!
Yeah.
So I was like, thank God, that was such an affirming comment, so thank you for that. No, I had a lot of fun. I love that we had a lot of haha moments, but just as equally a lot of like tense and emotional moments too for everybody across the board. Fucking yep. Reloy's sad bits with his sister fucking gutted me. I will say that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I had tons of fun. I know we didn't do a lot of like pirate ship battles, but that one that we did was hilarious and will be forever rent free in my brain of just nat 20 a cannonball at the captain over there on the beach. So
Yeah.
I don't know how else to say it. It's just a ton of fun. And I got to play with my good IRL friend, B! I got to drag her into this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my ADHD answer. Here you go. Ray, how about you?
Yes. It was very, very fun. Let's see. Goodness gracious. It's been a while since I've had 2 D&D games back to back in a long while, so it was very interesting to try and split character between like the one that I am currently playing now and a nice loving dad father figure,
a criminal rat to husband dad.
Yeah, it's just like Murad is much nicer and thoughtful about other people's feelings and stuff like that than the other character that I'm playing. Very sassy. Oh gosh. It was really, really cool to see aspects of both just like sea life as well as see Aaron's take on another character that I've granted him being Beltania. So that was really, really fun to see. And an experience, just like, it's so nice. It's so
Also, Murad's
fulfilling.
mom.
Yes, and Murad's mom. Yes, all the characters. Oh my god, there's so
Murad's
many.
entire family, really.
Murad has so many fucking family members. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. I'm trying to think of anything else. Like Zara was really fun to
Yeah, thanks, assholes.
scheme.
Plotting behind me before the
Yeah.
game started. Everyone else like, you're surprised? I'm like, I fucking didn't know. Dicks.
Yeah. I like Aaron approached me and I said yes. Because I was already thinking about that too. Just
Yeah.
like-
We were creating characters and he was just like, do you guys want to ship each other? I'm like, fuck yeah, let's do it. And then these two plotted.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I knew it was going to be great as soon as Aaron brought it up. Oh, so fantastic. I love keeping
Thanks.
secrets.
Love it.
Gosh. I can't think of anything else. My brain is going blank all of a sudden. But I will just pass that on to B.
Yeah, so sorry about my voice, first of all. I'm a little
You're
wonky.
fine.
But this was my first time playing on an actual play podcast. So that in and of itself was a really interesting experience, and I thank you guys for having me at the table.
Absolutely.
It was super fun. You guys are an amazing group to play with. I got to step outside of my comfort zone a little bit and play cleric, which I haven't done in a really long time. Because my main is usually warlock or artificer. That's 90% of what I play. And honestly, like, the world of Urzi-Heimel in and of itself is appealing and drew me in really quickly and easily. And so, like, I was just really emotionally invested the entire time. Even though I was betrayed by the DM and my wife.
Sorry, I couldn't say anything.
I could just hear Lee just running off the side.
I'm sure
My
she's on the
friends
other
and
side of
my
the
wife
house right
betrayed
now.
me.
Laughing.
Yeah, like, I know her, like, sixth sense is going off that I'm talking about her. But honestly, everybody was super fun to play with. I had a super great time. If I had to pick, like, a favorite arc, I would definitely say that it would be the time that we were going through the Feywild, even though I missed a part of it. I had, like, a super fucking great time playing in the Feywild, but that's, like, my favorite thing in any D&D campaign. I just fucking love the Feywild, so...
Yeah,
We're just sorry you missed Mama Raven Queen.
You mad
Oh, it
dogging
is
the
what it is.
Lotus Queen was pretty interesting to me.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just start talking and shit just happens.
Yeah.
So... the one thing I was kind of, like, worried about was I thought maybe I played Holly a little too quietly, because I was so new to the table. But yeah, I don't know. Other than that, I had an amazing time. So...
I'll give my responses to all of you, like, once I hear what you guys have to say, because I do have some interesting thoughts about Holly.
Oh.
Yeah.
You're not off the hook yet.
Yeah.
Shit.
Connor.
I mean, this was a lot of fun. High sea shenanigans is always gonna be a blast. We had a very clear goal from the offset. There were a lot of really great moments that alluded to the next campaign as well.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Personally, for myself, I got to play a character that I don't usually do. The silly little guy is usually not the characters I tend to go for.
And
So
yet
it
you
was-
played him so well.
We love
It
Roy
was-
so much.
It was really fun to be able to cut loose.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I'll wait until I get everybody's response. And of course, Kendra, who has not only been our leading producer, but also somebody that has been taking care of much of the back end of this game. So I think your thoughts are going to be the most interesting to me so far.
Yeah. Interesting? Well, I will say, I did really appreciate you taking into the fact that I wanted to dive into the whole dinosaur things. You know how much of a nerd I am for it, and you completely played into it. And I'm very happy for that. Homegway now is a land of dinosaurs. Hooray. But
then a meteor happens.
Shut up. But that wasn't the main thing of it all. I think what I really enjoyed the most was just the huge variety of the NPC characters that we had to chat with. Some of them were just the helpful side character who's just, oh yeah, you go over there. Oh yeah, you do this. And then there were the recurring characters that would come in, and I actually was very suspicious of Rudy when you first introduced him. Because it's just like, okay, military guy, rescued him, sure, he's on a ship now with us, is it gonna come back to bite us?
I mean, to be fair, it was very British-like, and we're always wary of the British.
Yeah.
Yes, I was very scared of that, but then it turned out to be just a wholesome little Rudy, and I am just so excited to see what happens in the future for Wenry, which, as you guys who have listened to the last episode know, I will be taking Wenry into the next campaign. Hooray!
Yeah. The rest are surprises, so you'll
the
have
rest
to wait for that.
Surprises, and I am so happy for a lot of you guys to learn these surprises. I know a future surprise, and I can't say shit about it, and
so do I. We're all keeping secrets from each other. Friendship!
Yeah.
That's the key of friendship in here.
Keeping secrets.
I would say one last thing that I did really enjoy. I really enjoyed having the guests come on and visit. I loved having Lee come in. I loved having Emily pop in. And I do know that there's going to be more guests in the next campaign, some of which you guys, the audience, will recognize, and I am so excited to see it coming in. I will continue as my role of executive producer. In perpetuity, in this case.
Yeah.
She wants this game made. She wants this story told.
I mean, your passion project kind of became everybody's passion project at the time.
The fact is, look at Aaron. He spent 8 years in this world of Erziheimel. Just building it up, developing the characters, developing the world. I really want to see it finished.
Same.
Yeah, I think that's what makes it feel so real for everybody.
Absolutely.
I don't think Erziheimel will ever be finished. Like,
but isn't that a good thing?
Oh, absolutely. It's just because, like, I have constantly brand new ideas that, and you know, a 5,000 year long span of history from, you know, what we know to what we don't know to where we are. Rounding back though, and I'll get more into Erziheimel history later. But rounding back, as I mentioned, like a lot of interesting concepts when it first was introduced to me. Especially with Cotton Murad, that whole concept of like I feel like that's going to be like the ultimate drama. Like,
are we the drama?
And I also wanted,
I
wanted this NPC to kind of have a connection with everyone in some little way. And you know, it kind of helps when, like, everyone's goal also matters to each other in that way. So, like, you know, Wallace, you know, Cotton was about, you know, regaining her original form, regaining her memory, regaining her family, fixing what was broken. And there isn't a perfect way to fix these things. There's obviously, in my mind, there's always going to be a lasting effect to all these decisions. It's just making things a bit better balanced rather than, you know, just putting the hand on the weight and just saying bad. Mm-hmm. And so that in and of itself matters a lot when it came to Murad and Cotton in telling a story of, like, parents just trying to get their kid back. And the thing that's kind of stopping them both is a character that was very obviously developed based off of a lot of other characters. One in particular was Bondrewd for Made in Abyss, because I was deeply inspired by the amorality of progression. He is a scientist first and foremost, and so the cost of other people's lives is minute in comparison to the actual, progression of the world. The actual world itself is taking its step forward thousands of years if we are okay with the concept of just losing a couple of lives along the way. And because of that amorality, it is hard to argue with that person. And, their final fight in the end kind of really plays into that. He is a victory-centric individual. He only wants the best outcome, and he only sees it in a certain way. When it comes to Holly, though, and I know you mentioned, one of your biggest problems was, she was very quiet.
Fear.
In ways, I thought it played well. I thought it plays well, especially, given the Marquess of Ravens and the way that they are an often very silent religion, and they only speak when necessary. For Holly, it was very... It was both good and bad. It's good because it kind of fits the character and what she represented and what it all meant, but also, I can see where the stress of it, of just, trying to find her vibe with the rest of the party, or with everyone at the table, and it takes time to work up to it, and it's fine. And there will be another chance, and I've mentioned this to you before. After we're done with Frontiers, my goal is to do another 2-year campaign, and do it 1,000,000 times better than what I've done before. And that will be an available seat to you when you do come back, and hopefully it might be with a character that you will be able to play, with ease and full confidence, and with the entirety of your chest behind it. So,
yes.
Especially since now you know that we're just a bunch of silly gooses.
Yeah. And we don't know what the party makeup will be. Oh, yeah. We may not know what the party makeup will be next time, but we will see where things kind of go as soon as Frontiers is done, because obviously I can't say if it will end good or bad, because any big magnum opus campaign of just hey, this is the end, where do we, where does it go based off of the actual, point in which whether the villain wins or loses, and how will that affect the world, or how will things turn out in the later half, because Urzi-Hamo could very much be wiped off of in the cosmic world that I have, but it could also very well be saved, and it can continue to exist with all the turmoils to come along with it. I will find that out when we get there. With Rolloy and him playing the silly guy.
The silly little guy.
The silly little guy.
With great jumps.
I've said it very early on. Yeah. I said it very early in the campaign. It is the dichotomy of Connor's capacity to playing any character, being an actor, being somebody who loves to be invested in these stories, and second campaign that I finished with him so far. Technically a third, but he was guesting at the time for Dawnright. But the true dichotomy of watching him go from Leodon to Rolloy from somebody who takes a level of responsibility to that equivalent of a chieftain, to being, carefree, chasing after time and helping everybody and just coming up with solutions, being the smartest man in the room, but not being so encumbering in the room at the same time, letting everybody breathe and have their moments, which is very nice. And like that's why I really appreciate Connor as a player, and we'll continue to do so for the next campaign because I'm really looking forward to what he's going to be playing. And for Winry was quite an interesting situation because, like, knowing Kendra well enough, and there are obvious things that, like, any dungeon master will want to do in order to kind of give to players and, install things into his world because, Homegway was not on the map when I first developed the very, I think, version 2 of the Ursingheimer map. Homegway was not, like, this massive island that was just gonna, that was there already. It was hidden. And I decided that it was hidden so that way I can actually put it there when it came time to actually reveal it for Winry's story and everything that kind of was attached to it between the dinosaurs, because I know she loves dinosaurs, and also the dragon because of her ancestry, and Mungrir, and all the things that kind of meant something with that island, and just, giving the trail of, like, allowing her to discover herself and, make the mistakes or, become attuned to a cursed sentient magical item, I wasn't going to stop any of you to doing these things, and that's why I was very happy with the results of, like, these characters, like, seeing where they started and kind of, like, at the end, in which everyone felt very confident and very well rounded and built in a fashion that I think is very satisfactory for all their stories. So I think that's my answer for all of you in return. That being noted, I think the next question is, what did you guys think about your pirate lords? Because this campaign was a bit different, because you guys didn't give me any bad guy in your backstories. That I actually asked you all to omit that and let me install a villain for you guys. Do you think that your pirate lord was best as they presented as an opposite to your character, and do you think that their story was good, regardless of how much time they were, like, on screen? So,
right, I'm going first, I guess.
Yes.
I'm so glad for the next game I'm not going first anymore. Anyway, Drig was interesting, to say the least, because I did know about the crazy you were about to throw at me, because, again, we were still building all of that mid, like, Black Archives, but it was a fun idea eventually when we brought Murad in and we made this more of a family thing, because, as you said, he's very much victory first, and then it doesn't really matter what lives kind of fall to the wayside so long as this specific goal is met, whereas he mentored her and she was the complete opposite of him. Even, after she gained her memories back, it was still a fight with him, because it went from she thought he was the bad guy, but then he really isn't, and it was really frustrating because it's easier when it's black and white. God damn it, Aaron. It drove me insane personally as a player, but, like, in a good way. Like, there was no bit that I was really, like, upset with it. I liked the fact that at the very end, even when she was presenting him with an option to avoid, taking her only child and sacrificing it for the greater good. And she's like, we have an answer. And it's this goat man next to me. Hello. You know, and he still wouldn't do it. So it just kind of had to force her hand to fight him in the end, but it didn't force her to have to kill him. And I'm not saying in the way of like, you know, Seacher would with Mercy. It's just trying to get him to stop seeing it. It's my way or the highway kind of deal. But at the same time, he never forced her to really ever do anything that would push her against her own morals, which was an interesting thought, because I thought you were going to have him do that, considering how much he really wanted her to come back, which is something he also had to fight with, because it's like, no, she's a mom first before scientist. Guess what? That's not changing. Because side story-wise, when we were talking about it, she had contemplated not continuing her work once Zara was born. But I'm guessing there was a lot of little, like, you know, push of what she does is to help others, so she never really truly dropped it. And then, you know, the whole Chimera thing happened, thanks, Dad. So, yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. It was a really hard thing to handle, a very gray character.
Yeah.
I have a question about him, but I'll skip over to the next one since we're talking about each one's Pirate Lord, so... Ray!
I didn't have a pirate lord.
You technically had Blackbeard.
I know.
You had Druig. You technically had Druig as well, but like, yeah.
Druig is like, that was Beltanya's gripe, and it just passed on. But like, Blackbeard, yes. Blackbeard was very interesting of a dynamic to deal with, because like, it's interesting to see opposite like perspectives, as well as just like someone who truly like accepts the fact that he is a father first and then a pirate second, but also the fact that it's like Murad's technically dead. So it's like Murad grasping with that during his journey really did help him face Blackbeard in the end, of like, I know where I stand in the end of all things, and it's with my family, regardless of how angry or like upset I get. It's like, in the end, I will do what's best for my family. And seeing that kind of slightly mirrored of like a different side of him in Blackbeard was very interesting. It's like, if Murad like didn't have certain things, he would have definitely probably have been Blackbeard in one way or another. So yeah, that was very, very fascinating.
Dude, fucking again, Holly with that 6 all of a sudden.
Yeah, I'll have comments about that later. Yeah.
We're all like, oh shit.
That was unreal.
Yeah. But it's those moments that really make D&D great, though.
Yeah. Speaking of Holly, what do you think about Genoa, especially towards her end? Because you've seen what her decimation actually had led to a couple of times.
Yeah, I think with Genoa in particular, we got to see a lot more of the destruction she left behind than actually having to face her down ourselves more than once, because we only really got to encounter her more than just once in the wild. I thought she was a really interesting foil to Holly's character arc, because the entire time Holly was trying to come to terms with the fact that she was going to be the champion of the Raven Queen, and that people were going to look at her as more than just a foot soldier. And that was a little weird for her, but Genoa refused to recognize her completely, outright. Even though her journey started with Genoa setting her on her path. Yeah. So, for her, I think having that one kind of... Genoa was kind of like the last step in recognizing that she was now the champion of the Raven Queen. And that was it. Like, I don't know if I explained that properly, but like, she was like the final step in her recognizing her own power and her own path, and not necessarily needing Genoa's approval or anyone else's recognition to actually be what she was set out to become.
Yeah.
So, in a lot of ways, Genoa's, like, complete disregard for her helped her to settle into her own identity. And I think that worked really, really well for Holly's story. It was sad that we had to see so many lives get destroyed by her, because she was just pure destruction all the way through. I am glad that we did not chase after her and we did save Rudy. I do think we need an episode counter of how many times we saved Rudy.
3.
3 times.
Yes, three times we saved him.
He was the Krillin of our group.
Yeah. Bing.
The Krillin counter. Oh, poor Rudy.
But yeah, so she just a really interesting foil in not directly recognizing her or not directly seeing her as you're my greatest nemesis. She just didn't give a fuck who she was. And that's great.
Like I said, I'll have some comments about it later. And Connor, what are your thoughts on Davalis, given having about the same amount of interactions as everyone except for Von Druig, because Druig was a little bit more...
I mean, in a lot of ways, Roloi had way more interactions with his pirate lord, because he's been a constant shadow of Roloi's life since before he was born.
True.
Yeah.
It was just, the feeling of being hunted was a constant in Roloi's life for so long. And eventually Roloi reached a breaking point where he's like, I don't want to run anymore. I don't want to run, I want to fight. And that decision nearly cost him his family. And so him learning time magic to try and fight Davalis was like the setup for everything. It was why he turned old. It was why his family was missing. It was... Davalis was really the driving force behind the way his life was. If he hadn't been in the picture, Roloi would not have been an adventurer.
Sure. He would have never gone to learn magic.
He never would have gone to learn magic. He probably would have remained in the circus or something.
He'd never meet the mother of time magic.
It's true. But it's just contending with an absolute evil. Like, we can all agree Davalis had no redeeming qualities.
No, zero. No,
absolutely not.
I did not see what Beltania saw in that man.
Poor Beltania was gaslit, okay?
Listen,
Whatever Beltania saw, we did not see it.
No, not at all. None.
Yeah, if we got a little bit more story of beforehand, maybe, but...
Yeah, I'll probably explain a little bit more about that later. Well, probably after I get everybody's answers. But yeah. And Kendra, how did you feel about Viscal? Because we've actually had a couple of conversations post game about it.
Still mad about that Nat 20.
Yeah, Viscal was indeed one hell of a character to put Winry against. Starting out on the whole campaign, Viscal just didn't see anything important about Winry. She was very weak at the very beginning. I started freaking level 1, all that, but just she grew so much through the campaign, mostly because she did have Viscal as her opposite. He's a huge character, very powerful, very strong, and very physically capable. His motivation was to pursue the last Great Worm, or one of the last Great Worms, Mumgrir, but dude was a little too late.
Just a bit.
Just a little bit. And then throughout the whole campaign, he was a constant reminder in Winry's head that she needed to improve herself. She needed to get stronger. First, she thought, this is just, I have to beat him. I need revenge for my people. so on and so on. And then it developed from revenge for people. Just okay, I got to get rid of this guy because he's just bad for everybody. He really gave Wenry a little bit more of an empathetic view of things. She could understand, no, this guy's just bad for everyone. And she took it less of, I need revenge against him for me, more, I need to stop him from doing this to anybody else.
Yeah.
And he was just such a vicious, he was the avatar of war.
Yeah.
So, I'm looking at his little figurine I have here on my desk. I'm just, I consider it a trophy.
Yeah.
But he was a great character in that I hated him so much.
Yeah.
And I will never forgive you for that, Nat 20.
Nope.
No.
Nobody ever will. Nobody ever does.
His ass, and you said no, and I'm so salty about it.
I will say though,
So-
that first fight against him as a group was really, really interesting because we got a good taste of what his skills were like, and he was not the most powerful of the frickin' 4 pirate lords. So
Yeah. He was very interesting to think about. And going across the board, as I've already mentioned, Von Droog was very amoral, and it was very easy to play him in my perspective, mainly because it's just like it's so above it all kind of mentality, if that makes sense. Because like when you constantly frame the entirety of your existence as, you know, we have better things to worry about, or I know how to fix the problem in order to avoid, you know, the worst plausible outcome, it becomes easy to kind of fall into that hole with, you know, a character like that. And so when developing his mannerism, when developing his behavior and his perspective on the world, it began to expand a bit more out than constantly thinking about thinking about Bondrewd, because Bondrewd is, you know, you only get to like see him in like one movie, and that was about it. That you don't see him again after that. So when you have to play that character for, you know, about 10% of the campaign and then some, it becomes easy over time playing this character, because obviously they are like the apex of the pirate lords, and I kind of wanted to drive that home. And allowing Cotton to try and beat the sense into somebody who seemingly has all the sense in the world, does it kind of feel a little satisfactory to actually watch this character move the needle from, you know, this neutral character to somewhat a little bit more, you know, good.
Yeah, I mean, again, she honestly knew that he definitely wanted the star to continue, but it's like, no, I'm about to teach you some morals you need to learn right now. Whenever there's a sacrifice needed, especially children, don't. So,
and like he will still have his opinions. Don't get me wrong. It's just it's going to be very interesting to continue to play Von Droog. With Blackbeard, however, I think Blackbeard was super easy in terms of a father. Given some of my own personal experiences with father figures, this is a figure that I wish kind of didn't have to exist, but they do. You know, this is a man who has not seen justice for the death of his wife, and he is left with a son that that isn't going to be able to comprehend that at his current age, and probably will in a few years. And he's also alone. I think I liken that back to something like Kratos in the more recent God of War games, because he lost Faye, and he's left with Atreus, and he has to fight an entire world of people that might not see it his way. And I also see a truly a man scorned, and so his mentality and direction is that it is about the honor of a pirate, especially with Murad, because Murad is captain, Murad is a father, Murad is the husband of a wife that he is protecting, and Blackbeard has none of that. Blackbeard is very also in any pirate-themed show, anime,
how can you not have a Blackbeard?
Yeah, movies Our Flag Means Death.
Great show.
Pirates of the Caribbean in his movie, as well as One Piece. There's a ton of versions of Blackbeard where it's just a man that desires to destroy the world or desires this kind of victory to a father who has lost something, and definitely lost somebody who was willing to look past a lot of his more destructive and evil tendencies and actually humanize Blackbeard a bit. And when somebody has somebody that's able to actually understand you and willing to ride and die with you, when that is gone, it is devastating. So moving forward, he will definitely be working on prioritizing his son much more, rather than trying to bring back his wife through Fae means. But yeah, that's a listen. When the stat block of Igwell literally says "wish" on it, of course that's going to be the most tempting thing to give to people.
Yep. Just a Holly Picard face on. No.
Yeah.
Do not.
Don't do it.
With Genoa now, I liked Genoa. She was probably the hardest to play, mainly because I don't think about hating everything at all hours of the day. It's not my vibe. But learning to not care is hard. It's different than Arthur, because with Arthur, he cares a lot, but is willing to put aside his morals to do what needs to be done. With Genoa, it is truly a woman scorned. I can imagine, and this is actually something that, from my own personal experiences as a younger, dumber man, there are times where it feels like I feel like I deserved a position in certain things, where I feel like I worked super fucking hard to get what I think I deserve, and when I am not given that exact thing, or when I am treated with a worse alternative, it feels offensive and it feels hurtful, because a lot of effort goes into those things. But also, as I got older, that's just not what life is. That's not how life works. And with Genoa, I thought in my mind, what if this was somebody that never learned that lesson. That, they constantly believe, as a pirate would, believe that what is theirs needs to be taken. And so, with her being a pirate lord, she doesn't care about what other people think or what their thoughts are. Genoa was just selfish. A selfish being entirely based off of siphoning resources and lives and people and everything. Everything was for her. And that's the extreme, the unmitigated extreme of I deserve this.
Mm-hmm.
And so when it comes to her interactions with Holly, it does humanize Holly, because it's like this is obviously somebody that, is this glutton, this being of avarice, and nobody's gonna stop them, so it has to be me. It has to be me because of what I stand for. And so the foil between her and Holly was really, really good, because it is watching an unstoppable object and or an unstoppable force and an immovable object, truly. Because Holly did want her to change, and she is somebody that has no intention of changing given the circumstances that were presented to her. So that was just something that I had a lot of fun, especially with her interactions towards the end, and that she was willing to kind of just like throw anything to the side if it didn't fit her plan anymore, even at a whim. So she was a lot of fun. With Davalis, however, so I wish I had a bit more time to explain him in game. Or I wish I had more opportunities, because he is like a phantom. He was a ghost. He's he is a chasing force to Rolloy, and you won't ever see it coming. Desi, who, my sibling, and also who played Dante in the last campaign, introduced me to an amazing story that was likened to the LGBT community and this force, the shadow, that if it touches you, you die. And what it was representing was the AIDS pandemic, back during the 70s, 80s, and 90s, which I just it's haunting. It's haunting when you feel like that there is this ghost, this thing that you can't see, that you can't touch, that you can't fight until you face it, until you are forced to face it, and interact with how you intend to solve its problem. And I wanted Davalis to kind of be this creature that if he did touch Rolloy, like Rolloy would just drop dead. But you can't do that in D&D. But I wanted him to kind of like haunt Rolloy in every plausible way. His absence played a massive role to that. In revealing a bit of his backstory, Davalis was a bit of a charmer. He was a bard, and he met Beltania well in the past, and they had their relationship. Things were okay, but also being this degenerate of an individual, he had actually defiled one of the sanctuaries of a goddess, and they cursed him. And so as time went on, as the years began to pass, the things that he ate tasted like rotted fish, and the things that he drank tasted like seawater, his skin began to change, and everything about him was becoming this more gross and disgusting being, and it also drove him insane. He was already a bad person to kind of start with, and was trying to change, but unfortunately, as the circumstances began to progress, he became worse and worse and worse and worse, and the thing that would have freed him is the thing that he killed. And so, his selfishness, his desire for power, his desire to actually, take when he feels like he had been taken from, even though he well deserved being taken from and cursed. And the way that kind of interwove into Rolloy's family and the backstory, and how much of Beltania, as well as Mirad, intermingled in a little bit better of a tapestry, so that way there would have been a much larger connection with your guys' characters as time went on. I truly did enjoy playing Wynode here a couple of times the way I did, mainly because it was just like... he was just an interesting character in the like of somebody that didn't know a mistake until after he had made it. And having to let that be played out, especially for Davalis, who is just purely evil at this point, and letting him play that pure evil because that's just who he is, was really good to me, just letting evil be evil. With Viskel was very interesting. Viskel was pretty much my favorite Final Fantasy character ever of all time.
Yeah, that asshole had to haunt me once again.
That son of a bitch.
I like the characters that like often find themselves at odds and rivalry with your character. And with Winry, it was a lot easier because I could make that character interact with Winry, in this much more, I guess, consensual way, rather than it being, a story forced upon us. However, his interaction was also deeply integrated with Winry's backstory and Session Zero, where his behavior really did inspire Winry to go out, because she could have very well have stayed and stuck around. And for him,
stuck around and never improved.
Yeah, for him, the chase of a fight, and I've always loved a character that has the desire for a fight, and also allow them to kind of like show their reason why. Because for him, he had what Winry doesn't, and thus is the reason why he desires for that fight, for a challenge, because he has never struggled for a thing in his life. And he's also been manipulated to a point that he plays ball with the rest of his family that sees him nothing more than as a figurehead for their machination. So when he is actually hurt for the first time by Winry with the fireball spell, when he actually feels like there is the sip of death with this person, does he actually connect? And thus was his vast interest in her. And after you guys had left Hollingrad, he immediately went back to Volflora and just spent as much plausible time training just so that way the next time that, they would meet, it would be this interaction of finally, and our battle will be glorious, kind of deal. And that's what he wanted. And if he dies doing it, he was happy. He knows that there is an end for him and that he's not just going to be able to come back. He's an undead creature. And being a pirate lord also provided him with a version of immortality, as all pirate lords did. Every pirate lord had a kind of version of it, where for Viskel, being a vampire, they can't die unless, their misted form is exposed to sunlight. Genoa had gained the ability through the efforts of the ship and the magics that come along with it to basically circumvent damage from herself to somebody else. And Davalis couldn't be killed ever. He would always be at 1 hit point no matter what, unless it was by somebody with the blood of Wynode, which is Roloi. And then for Arthur, he was basically capable of reincarnating and constantly cloning himself through both the artificy means and magical means and technological means. So there was no way to actually really kill him unless you blew up the Luxon. So all of them had a version of immortality, and none of those abilities actually kept them alive, with the exception of Arthur. So I wanted to kind of allow that mentality to being able to lift the immortality for any of these creatures, like being killed by the Kling Hex for Viskel is how his soul got claimed and how it's now dispersed. Because you did 2-on-2 combat, Holly was able to kill the damn pert near unkillable, and with Roloi just being Roloi as he always should be. And with Blackbeard, unfortunately, when he revoked his right as a pirate lord, he doesn't gain the form of immortality. However, the Witch Queen is very immortal. If that
You
makes
say
sense.
that, but we know otherwise.
My point fundamentally comes back to is that it was truly a joy playing these villains that I gave you guys and allowing your characters to help me develop them a lot better in time. Okay, I think my two main questions have been answered. I know we're going a little long here, but I think I want to hear all your guys' questions for me, and what you guys have questions for that I think I can answer. And we'll start with Blue.
I technically have 3. One being, since we know she chose to let go of the Elder King that was there, had she chose to keep it, what would have happened then?
So, in my mind, in keeping the old king, you would have still been a Chimerican.
Mm-hmm.
And we would have used the same rules that we're using for Tonelli at the time. Obviously, I would have gotten rid of the old counter system and replaced it with something that had a bit more control. However, it would have been dramatically depowered.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been very interesting to see where that could have gone. I would have had to think a lot.
Because it felt like it should have ended, so.
Yeah.
The other question was, had Cotton decided to run away with the whole group to Windia, how would that have actually gone? Rather than going with the Luxon and all that.
I still would have had Mirio show up and kind of explain to the party what has been going on and allowing you to play that character, because I have been interested in letting players play NPCs here and there, so that way it allows there to be a lot more interaction between you guys rather than it's just all me all the time. Even though it does kind of seem that way. But Arthur would have continued to chase you guys to Windia.
He would have made it there?
He would have made it there.
Oh boy.
And it would have caused a massive uproar before he would fundamentally needed to be chased out by Mirios and quite possibly Amsir.
Gotcha. The third being the ending bit where Reloy technically, he did die. Had my brain cell not clicked, which I apologize, I didn't realize that he'd actually stabled out. I was like, oh fuck, what do I do? This guy can't die. Shit. Because I know Arthur wasn't gonna kill Cotton. That doesn't mean Davalis won't. So, like, had I not figured that out, I'm assuming he probably would have just murdered Cotton, I'm assuming.
He would have attempted to try and kill Cotton. Arthur probably would have used his last ace in the hole.
He still had an ace in the hole?
Yeah, it would have brought him up to 1 HP. The only reason why he didn't was because he was compelled to be subdued in that aspect, where he knew he kind of lost, but he would have attempted to try and put himself between you and Davalis, and it would have very well killed him. At least in that form. And also, his defeat would lead to a few other standing issues, as he's still allowed to be Pirate Lord thanks to Murad. But yeah.
I have my eye on you, fucker.
Dad fixes everything.
Somebody's got to keep an eye on him.
Yep. Yeah, I was happy that I was able to figure that out and be like, I can't kill you, but he can. Get up, Reloy.
Yeah. So, Ray, what are your questions?
Let's see. If things didn't pan out correctly, with Cotton and Roloy's whole fight, how bad would have it been if Azure and Murad tried to take Zara away at that point? Like, full on kidnap.
We would have gone out to about 50 episodes.
Okay.
Solving that problem.
We could have kept this going.
Yeah, had it gone the other direction, it would have dragged out the full 50 episodes trying to recover from that problem. Or after that, it would have possibly led to either deals not being taken, and it would have led to the actual defeat of the Astral Corsairs. Yeah. At least that's the way I think it would be.
Damn.
Igwell was still hanging out upstairs, and that's a problem. that would complicate actually kidnapping Zara. In hindsight.
Yeah.
Next, let's see. I can't think of a second question right now, so I'm gonna pass it on.
All right.
So,
Kayla.
I do have two questions. The first one being, we were given that, I don't remember if it was like a scroll or a book or something.
The contract?
The contract that was supposed to be able to free Murad.
Or at least
we never got to the bottom of that.
Right.
So what would have happened if we had gone and completed that quest?
Or showed it to Biltanya, you mean?
Yeah.
Or showed it to Biltanya.
So, had you guys learned the understanding of Victoria Santorum, as it is understood, it would have allowed you to challenge a god based off of the word set that, all gods are bound to in the cosmic law. it would have also led to you guys doing a big final fight with Beltania on in the open ocean on the Night Wish. However, you guys would have lost Murad for the fight.
Damn,
Because
I'm glad we didn't decide to keep going.
Yeah, he would have been the wager, so he's kind of just hung up for the wager of it all.
He's like,
Boy.
I'm not a piece of meat. No.
I would like to point out we had, and still, like, to the very end, we technically had 2 champions of death on board. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
True. And that kind of leads me into my second question, which was going to be that Holly's kind of journey began with a little bit of a connection to Beltania. And there were a couple of times in the campaign that I felt like maybe she should have reached out to Beltania more. What would have happened if she had said prayers to Beltania? Would there have been recognition there, or?
So, the gods of Urzenheimel are very. I think I still kind of hold this true, especially since Origin. So there was this interaction because Braun Braun, played by Hawk at the time, was a follower of Bahamut, and when Arya began her ascension towards godhood, and their relationship was already established, did Bahamut actually push him away to let him be more attuned to Arya in that faith? The gods are very particular about their followers. Like, hey, when you follow me, you follow me. Beltania doesn't really need followers, but she does allow for it, mainly because she is a function of the world, and not so much as, like, a ruler over a domain. She is the goddess of those who die at sea, and because neither, the Evergreen Guide or the Marquess of Ravens has rule over both domains, there needs to be an intermediary that allows for there to be, someone that can allow a separation of that. So that's what Beltania's function is that she allows those to pass to those who have died at sea, or, in Murad's situation, allow those to continue to do the work under her explicit direction. So when it comes to praying to the Marquess of Ravens, and then also trying to, pray to, the goddess of death at sea, there would have been a polite nod, but a understanding of, you are not mine. You belong to the Marquess of Ravens, and that is your faith, and that's the way it has to be until you decide to revoke that. And that's kind of just how gods in this world kind of work at the moment.
That's fair. I think really she only would have prayed to him on behalf of Murad anyway. Prayed to her on behalf of Murad anyway. So that makes sense.
Yeah. Alright, Connor, what are your questions for me?
Was the staff of Amseer always going to be a thing? I know, like, basically episode 2, I acquired the Shard of Dunamancy.
Yep, you sure did.
Two or 3.
So actually, yes. The best way I could just discern this, I knew as much of the path as I possibly could. Amseer was already developed somewhere in the middle of Black Archives and
Gabby.
Vale. And so when when thinking about chronomancy, I was like, hey, this endless god, much like Beltania and the introduction of the Endless Gods, the Staff of Amseer in its original design was, I think, the Staff of Dunamancy from the Wildmount book. But, like, looking at it, it was just, like, way too much to start with. And so when I decided to kind of break it down a bit and then start developing my own version for it, the Shard of Dunamancy was kind of like this like, I guess the nod of, like, the beginning of, like, probably one of Rolloy's many, many, many reflections, and, you know, with him kind of spread out among the timelines at the moment, that probably one of them may have set things up to dropping the shard in where he would have found it, and thus would have alerted Amseer to finding the rest of his staff. So, yes, there was a plan for it, because, like, I wanted Rolloy to end the campaign with this cool, awesome staff, you know, as I think all wizards should have. But, like, also, it's a bit storied as well, as kind of allowing Rolloy to actually show this actual upward trajectory of evolution, as many cool items in this game do. Like, the Fragments of Primeval, you know, as you've, Fragments of Primeval and Mythica, as far as you have experienced them, like, they are very, like, even the basic Awakened form is really good. And I kind of wanted to see what happens if I just drop the first piece and watch it play out through a majority of the game. And it was really cool once you got the scepter, and then once it evolved into the staff, I just knew that, you know, this is the right direction for allowing this kind of play for working with time magic and also explaining time magic. In a way. So yes, it was an intentional decision on my part.
Time is soup.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Time is soup.
Are they poly?
Are they poly?
I'm joking.
What, Amseer and Mirios?
I guess. But also Rolloy, if that's the case.
I already know Rolloy is. He's a fae.
Rolloy is some weird omnisexual being.
Rolloy
Undefinable.
is just Rolloy.
Rolloy is Rolloy. I will not explain.
And there's no one on this earth that can understand my sexual preference.
God, I have to say one of my favorite things is just Holly being Rolloy's wingman. Shit
Yes.
was too funny.
And vice
And going
versa.
to looters.
Yep, looters! Yes!
Well, we'll talk about looters a little later. But I think the last couple of questions is for Kendra.
All right. I suppose the first question, and probably the biggest one that I have, is where'd you come up with the idea to make pirates for Sandtide?
So, believe it or not, it was born out of spite.
Yeah,
Oh.
it was.
So I've had Bracky as a player in the past, and Bracky loves pirates, and he also very much loved Xenos as much as I do, and I had told him, I want to make this pirate campaign, and I also want to make this character, this kind of character that I kind of had in mind already, which was Viscal. And like I invited Bracky to give it a try. He said no. And I'm all like, you want to know what? I'm still going to do it anyways. And also, like, I've always kind of wanted to, spend a little bit more time on the seas of Erzheimel. Most of my campaigns are landlocked. They not a lot of exploring out in the open seas. Even all the way from Origins and even now, I still intend for my campaign to return back to Alanon after Frontiers is done, simply because of what the world will be changing into after it's done for Frontiers. So after that, I think I might jump to maybe either like Excelsium or towards Yimnin, kind of see where my mind goes with that. But making Sandtide was such a deal to me because I really wanted to know if I could tell a story with these with all the idea of like having the ship as your main base and high flying adventures, all the weird nautical bullshit, the Leviathan, dealing with pirate lords, going to port towns, and also Volflora, which I just was I think when you and me we watched Atlantis, actually.
Oh yeah,
I really wanted.
that.
Yeah, we had watched Atlantis, and I was thinking of like, I really want to make a city kind of just a little like that, and that's how I came up with Volflora. God, and I feel really sad because we were gonna actually have Uzu on, who is gonna be our cleric monk before B, and I really wanted Uzu to bring Louvain, and we didn't get the chance to do that or have her play. But yeah, no, I started developing this out of spite, and then it became a vast interest based off of a lot of the media that I watch and a lot of the shows and movies and stories that kind of get told, and I'm all like, I finally want to do a pirate thing. And I think also, I think it was right as we started playing, the One Piece live action had just started playing as well.
I think so. I'm not entirely certain. Somebody fact check that.
Yeah, and the fact that they managed to cover basically 40 episodes of One Piece in 10 episodes was pretty fucking good. But yeah, I was just there was a lot of pirate media that was kind of just playing for me in the background, and so this game was kind of just bound to happen at some point.
I do have one other question.
Yes.
Given how it ended, it's kind of a two-parter. Are we really, really going to assume that Arthur is going to learn better morals around Rolloy and Wenry? Because he's kind of with them for now.
Well, he's been busy. Believe it or not, he has actually ended up in a couple of Session Zeros, given his importance.
Ooh.
Yeah.
The other question would be, do we get to see more of Rolloy? Because that's going to be
more
hilarious.
than likely, yes. More than likely, yes. Yes. Of course, allowing Connor to play him as an NPC, as he has been able to play Salazar as an NPC, and maybe even...
The Sandtide doesn't exist without Rolloy.
Nope, not at all.
He's kind of important.
And we might even see Leodon pop up as an NPC. Who knows?
Leodon's just going to pop up and just... dad size.
It's all this thing.
Oh my god.
You motherfuckers are gonna ruin all my lilies.
Please, we
Just-
need the situation where we have
They're
Salazar, Mulroy, and
marigolds!
Leodon all in the same room.
Yeah.
No, I was enjoying the entertainment. I was enjoying it.
Just he's enjoying his time, looks up, sees a whole other world appear, like, oh god.
I was enjoying it.
It was a year. It was a year.
I'm getting me mallet. I'll get me axis.
Oh god. I mean, yeah. I mean, to be fair, technically he would kind of know some shit's probably gonna pop off because doesn't Tasha like go with him at the end of Black Archives?
Yes.
So technically, Leon's not even out of the loop.
Yeah, no, he's well informed.
He just doesn't want to do anything.
Want to
I'm
be in the
retired.
loop.
I'm retired.
I'm not
You're
getting
a
out of this
50-year-old
chair. All right.
Out of this chair.
Let me guess. Is it Asher's fault? Maybe.
Probably.
God damn
Most
it.
likely.
Knowing Asher, more than likely.
He died and it's still somehow his fault.
Listen, that
Lead
dragon
on,
has
the
machinations
most
you can
laziest
never
man in the
fathom.
world.
Oh
Oh, God. So, let's see. I think I have 2 more questions, and I think that's where we're gonna go ahead and end it. But I think my one of my major questions is, what was your guys' favorite location? Location, place, or I guess ship or something like that. So,
Favorite setting?
yeah, favorite setting. What was your guys' favorite setting?
Huh.
Are we going to go in order or just whoever?
Yeah, in usual order.
I'd have to say my favorite it was 2 spots. It was technically Hollingrad and Yvnin because we didn't really get to see them at all in Black Archives. We knew they were there, but we didn't get to see either or, so it was really interesting to see them both. Specifically Yvnin, because that was really fun. Also Noodles. But to not only touch on Holly's story, but like the Gloom Tree suddenly there, the introduction of the Divine Dragons, which was happening in Vale, which no one gets to see because that's a non-recorded game. And really a scary Empress who has a lot of anger issues. It was interesting to also just have fun with like NPCs from another game that we're playing also pop up. But also Hollingrad being like, there's the Dark Continent, and everyone's like, cool. So it must be a like really ravaged. Like, no, it's got a whole society there, and I guess it's French according to Aaron.
French and German.
Yep. So it was really cool. So I'd have to say it was those 2, because again, like we didn't get to see them in Black Archives as a player as it was in the other game. So
Yeah. All right. Ray, what was your favorite location or setting?
Oh gosh. I did very much liked visiting Holly's place for sure. And of course visiting Mirad's mom. Mom.
Yeah.
Gosh.
We love a loving mother.
Yes, a very, very loving mother.
very loving mother.
I don't think the audience knows the extra that I gave everybody at the end of the last episode.
Somebody had
that
me a
was
rolled up
entertaining.
newspaper. Bad little voice. Bad.
What?
Yeah.
What?
So yeah, those.
She came on to me!
It doesn't matter.
In more ways than one.
Gross.
But yeah, I liked those 2 places. It was like really, really fun to experience those areas, and just be a pirate, just exploring the world.
You were the only one that truly pulled off a very piratey thing, which is hilarious to me.
It's just like I had the pockets for it, which was very, very happy.
Like it was
very
technically you
happy
and Reloy,
about that.
specifically the beginning and the stealing of the dragon's hoard.
Yeah.
You did it first.
My original character was going to be way more piratey than Reloy was.
Oh.
Yeah, you left yours up to council.
I did. I was like, Twitter, decide it for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
I still have it saved. I still have the link saved to the post.
It's how I've decided several characters, actually. My original character was going to be a goblin bounty hunter.
Oh my god.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Oh, golly.
like an arcane archer.
And yet, it probably still would have been a silly little guy.
Way less silly than Roloi, I will say.
So you're saying more feral.
and definitely dialing up the pirate aesthetic as well.
Yeah.
Nice.
But instead, we've got Roloi, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
No, Roloi is great. And technically also Uncle Roloi. Come on.
Sure.
Yeah. Kayla, how was what was your favorite setting?
I feel like we don't have to. I feel like we don't have to ask me that. I feel like we all know it's Looters.
It's always been Looters.
It's
always been Looters.
It's always Feywild. It's always going to be Feywild.
Well, Looters was the only place in the campaign that prompted me to make a shitpost drawing of Holly wearing a shirt.
I wish I was at Looters.
I don't know if I've posted that anywhere, and I probably should.
You probably should.
Yeah.
There've been a couple of, like, random encounters at Looters, and they've always been fun. And then there was that one time that we had a chance to go to Looters, and Dad said no.
Yeah,
which
Mom
is
tried.
Really mean of Dad.
Yeah,
That was very mean. I agree.
Mom tried, okay? She really did.
That's a bit mean.
Aside from Looters, though, like, and I am so serious about Looters. Aside from Looters, though, I think Volflora is probably my second favorite location. No diss to the Temple of the Raven Queen in Yimnen, but Volflora is a fucking pirate city under the water, and that's fucking cool. So, yeah. But yeah, Looters. I need a shirt.
Yeah. I will say that.
Ask Joe.
Yeah, it was that one and the shitpost of Paper Bag Puppet Roloi were my favorite two things you did.
Yeah.
So Looters was developed by Joe Cat back in 2020 and during, the year of the plague.
The heat of COVID.
And it just felt like everybody had to make something about Looters, and it was
his legacy lives on.
Yeah, and I told Joe, it's like, hey, I would love to put Looters into my game, and he gave me permission to do so. And now Looters exists all around Erdseheimel. It's a small chain restaurant somehow.
So technically, you need to post it now so Joe Cat can see that.
That's fair. I should post it.
Yeah, this wasn't the first or second time that we had Looters in a D6 campaign. We actually had a Looters in Black Archives when Bracky came by to visit. Yeah,
that was
you guys went to Looters. Yeah.
Oh right, that when Dante got fucking polymorphed at the end of that whole thing.
Yeah, into a tiny version of
everybody was
Dante.
being so mean. The only two that just were actually, nice was Leodon and Cedra. Who knew?
Well, it's a beautiful, beautiful place, and I wish it was real. There's nothing like it in real life at all.
Nope. Not at all.
Everybody's wearing a very tight shirt and short shorts. Not just the women, but also the men.
No comment.
Connor, what was your favorite setting?
I enjoyed the Feywild. It was fun going back to Excelsium.
Yes.
Minus
the human trafficking this time.
Attempted human trafficking. That the
5 minutes. 5 minutes into being in Excelsium, mind you.
Let's see. Where was my favorite place, though? I think Wenry's Island was actually my favorite portion of the campaign because it was so early. Things were so different. It was very fun.
Yeah, we were all still settling in.
We got to stage a rebellion. We shot some stupid bitch with a cannon.
That was fun.
Yeah.
That was like probably peak Murad pirate moment.
Y'all know that image, that very
Yeah.
famous image of Stitch evilly laughing in the distance,
Yes.
shadowed out. That is Roy on the ship in the distance.
Where there is harm being done to the innocents, we pull up.
Yep.
Oh my god, that was so funny.
I think it was
Quite-
the most
quite
unhinged
literally
all of
fighting
us
for the
was
little
during
guy.
the campaign.
Yeah, I mean, that was the one time we're like, we're supposed to be pirates, so let's go be pirates.
We never did anything piratey throughout the entirety of the campaign.
No.
We were sailors. We were pirates in name only.
Yep.
Either we were very good pirates or very bad pirates, depending on how you look at it.
We were just... We were drama.
We are like the Straw Hat crew of Erdzy High Mall.
Basically.
Yeah.
We say we're pirates when we're actually just terrorists.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah. We were all like, we all had our separate goals, and then also turned into, that's your child, well now it's our child. At the same time.
All right. And last but not least, Kendra, what was your favorite setting? I feel like I already know.
I actually am tied for 3 different settings. The first one is, of course, the Nightwish. It's Wenry's home, it's her ship, and she makes it known throughout the whole campaign that it is hers. She called dibs.
And now it's Roloy's pain to deal with.
Maybe not. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You'll see. But yes, so first off, the Nightwish is my first one, just because it's a gorgeous, fantastic ship. I'm honestly really happy that we actually came across that filament to print it out to be that sparkly blue-purple.
Yeah.
And I didn't expect you to do that for the ship, but as soon as I saw it, it's just like, yo! It looks great! I love this! It was our home base, it was our safety net, it was just everything we needed, and it was portable. As for my second favorite place, let's see here. I'm trying to remember all the places that we've gone and everything here. Second favorite has to be probably that town that we had first seen Viskel and actually fought him at.
That was part of Hollengrad, but it was like the shoreline area.
It was just that tiny little spot. Seeing the devastation of all that, that's what actually really made it real for Wenry, that this is what this guy can do. Oh my god, what am I getting into? But it was because it was such a devastating thing. It's like in the movie Mulan, when they come across the town. They're happy, they're singing, they're excited to go into war, and then they come to this town that's been devastated and it's just dead quiet. And that's when it really hit for Wenry going to that town. Just, this guy, he has to be stopped. We got to do something about this. So, but geez, what was my third one? I had a third one. What was it? Yes.
I imagine it's the island with all the dinosaurs on it.
Listen, I love Hongwei so much. But I will say my favorite island place actually has to be the island within the storms. Because getting through that storm to get there in the first place was such a huge challenge. And the fact that we managed to survive that challenge, succeed it, and then get to the island to our next objective, I really enjoyed that. Both because it was the challenge and we had defeated it, but this also was a very important, very safe place that, like Homegway, was kinda sorta-ish unknown, but only lives on in rumors until suddenly, whoop, here it is. But that would have to be my third on my favorite places.
Okay, Storm Shatter.
It was such a cool little thing, but...
Okay. Well then, I guess my last question, and this will be where we're gonna wrap up a bit, and I'm not gonna have any explanation to any of them, however, one NPC, which is your favorite? out of all the fucking many millions of faces that I had to play for you guys, who was your absolute favorite NPC?
I gotta make sure that I don't mix up campaigns. 1 second.
Mark.
Mark.
No, hands down,
Oh,
Mark.
Mark is fabulous. I will say I'm biased towards Rudy to being my favorite. But
My only other bias had to have been Amsir because of just how he manhandles everybody, specifically Rolloy.
just grab and yank.
This is a god, remind you.
Keep in mind, I'm trying to not be also biased because Fuchsia exists, but like
Fuchsia.
that shouldn't matter at the moment. Like that, this is Sandtide. This is not
right now. Yeah.
I guess favorite NPC that we interacted with in this game.
Yeah.
We did
So,
interact with Fuchsia in this game.
I know, I'm saying, but like, you get what I'm trying to say though, without the bias of Vale.
Yeah. I love me a Fuchsia.
I know you love her.
All right. So Mark
what
for
about you
Mark
guys?
for Cotton.
Ray.
What's up?
What was yours?
Oh, I said Mark.
Oh.
Also Mark.
Yeah, Mark.
All right.
Listen, in a popularity poll, Mark will win. He's so fun.
He's
and
a teddy bear.
I would love to
is.
see him make a comeback.
Fair enough. Kayla.
Out of pocket answer, but the complete menagerie of kobolds that we saw across the campaign. Like every single kobold was special to my heart, especially the one that sold us boogers. I loved that guy.
Had kobolds show up twice in this campaign, and all of them are great.
They're incredible. The ones that were doing like a full-on Broadway production in like episode
Priya's.
3 or something. No. The ones really early on when we were in the island. That were like,
where Rollo got his shard.
yes, they were doing basically Hamlet. Incredible.
Yeah, they were.
I love kobolds in general, but I loved all the ones in this campaign.
Including the ones that were invisible and stole from us.
Yes, them too. They were beautiful.
Yeah.
Fuck those
They
guys. We never got that back.
Hey, if it weren't for them, we would have
That's
found
life.
your shard. So
We learned a lesson from them, and for that, we have to be grateful.
It is true.
And Connor.
And now the Sandtide is equipped with guards and wards.
Connor, who was your favorite NPC overall?
My favorite NPC overall?
Mm-hmm. You say fucking Miret's mom.
You're free to say Murad's
I was
mom.
tempted.
I overrule that.
I was tempted.
It was a thought.
Amsir was a lot of fun. In a lot of ways, he proved himself to be a mentor to Rolloy. He also just chucked his ass through time a lot.
He did.
that was fun.
Rolloy got to be very intimate with the Tesseract.
Well, this portion's done. What happens now? Get dunked on, nerd! What? Mind you, this was fragile old man.
It was.
Yeah.
It was Grandpa Rolloy at the time. He survived. He's
it's
sturdy.
It fits his bones. All right. And last but not least, Kendra, who was your favorite NPC overall?
Do I even need to answer? It's got to be Rudy. Rudy is my favorite.
Rudy.
Both because he was a returning, charming little guy that we just rescued from the dregs of a ship.
Oh, charming.
Twice.
Twice. We rescued him. Let's see here, twice from the dregs of the ship, and then we met up with him at the fort.
Yep. Which also was under siege.
I just really liked him because he was a key part of Wenry's emotional growth through the whole campaign. Like, yeah, he cute little dude, but then, oh shit, I did bad. This hurts.
If isn't the consequences of my own actions.
Fucking deed. So
also,
yes,
the whole
Rudy
team
has to be
seeing
my
this,
favorite.
the whole team seeing that relationship from miles away.
So I'm pretty sure the second Rudy started talking to Wenry, Cotton's just like, oh, hello.
Yeah. With Rudy, I think he is the only one I want to explain a bit. With Rudy, I think he very much was like deeply inspired by Milo Thatch, and by just being a very intelligent and very very kind soul. Of course, mixing the military life and all that fun stuff. He was extremely interesting to have played in the aspect of like allowing him to be willing to open self-discovery, because and we'll probably get a little bit more into it with Frontiers, because he's going to be returning as well. Much of his story was basically the constant struggle to succeed, and the desire to wanting more than just what was the simple life that he had, back in Hawthright. So the fact that he is now, on high-flying adventures and discovering himself, being a part of Winry's life and being a part of, the Sandtide now, he will still continue to play an integral relationship with the rest of the party, and also his relationship with Winry is going to continue to expand out more and more. And that's something that I'm really looking forward to, playing an NPC. Okay.
Well, of course, wherever Wenry goes, he goes too.
Absolutely. Well then, that being said, we have been here for quite some time, and we have had many a question and many an answer. Any last minute quick shots before we decide to wrap up here?
Nope.
I can't say anything else. Everything else is a spoiler.
It's a
Take me to Looters.
Let's go to Looters.
Let's go to Looters.
Let's go to Looters.
Looters.
All right. Oh,
Looters time.
The Yimnan branch. Their noodles are best.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Holly's gonna personally open a branch of Looters in her temple town, and she's gonna make Crow run it.
Oh my god.
As revenge against my wife.
Please
I love
say,
it.
Please say that Mark gets a part-time job there.
And he's one of the servers, just very, very tight loincloth. Alright, I think that'll about do it. I'm sorry. I think that'll about do it. This being the epilogue, thank you all for being amazing players. Thank you all for allowing me to tell this story and letting you guys be a huge part of its development and its very good end. Now with Frontiers on the horizon, I look forward to seeing how much of this story will be influencing its future, and I think that's about all I can say at the moment. So I think we should sign off, and I want to say thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you for spending your time with us. Please stay safe out there, and as always, see you next Sunday.
Bye.
See you on Frontiers, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
All right, let's go to
See you
Looters.
guys soon.
Bye.
To Looters!
We're going to
Looters.
Looters.
We're getting a freaking Looters.